Hey Book Besties, I'm Haley.
And I'm McCayleigh. Welcome back to Two Chicks and a Plot Twist.
Season 2 is here, and we're messier, moodier, and more obsessed with fictional men than ever.
Expect chaos and all the twists your TBR can handle.
Let's get plot twisty!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. We have such an exciting episode today because we're joined by an incredible guest, USA Today bestselling author Jenna Levine.
Jenna is the author of the My Vampire series, including My Roommate is a Vampire, My Vampire Plus One, and her newest release, Road Trip with a Vampire.
In our chat with her, we're talking about all the inspiration behind the hilarious and vampire romances, how she mixes humor and fantasy, and what it was like finding out she made the USA Today bestseller list.
We're also going to be talking about her publishing journey, her favorite vampire books, and what readers can expect next from the My Vampire world.
Let's get started! Jenna, welcome to Two Chicks and a Plot Twist!
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hi, we
Thank
are
you
so
for coming.
excited. Yes,
No,
thank
we
you so
are.
much.
So, my name is Jenna Levine, and as you said, I am the author of the My Vampires series, or as I like to say, the book series where the titles function as summaries. My debut novel, My Roommate is a Vampire, came out just a little over 2 years ago. My Roommate is a Vampire follows Cassie Greenberg, a starving artist in Chicago who suddenly finds herself in need of a new place to stay. And she answers an ad on Craigslist for an apartment that only costs $200.
Wow.
And, it seems too good to be true. It's a beautiful apartment, but the roommate is really hot. And so, like many of us would do, she decides to move in. But the roommate has a secret. And I would tell you what that was, but I'll just point you to the book's title.
Ooh.
And no spoilers, but the title is a spoiler. And then the second book, My Vampire Plus One, thank you, is about Amelia, who's really got her shit together, but her family's nagging her about still being single, right? And so she has a family wedding. She needs a date. She meets just like first guy basically she bumps into. She's like, you know what, you're weird, but you'll do. And he too has a secret. And I would again share that with you, but I refer you to the title. And then my most recent book that just came out is Road Trip with a Vampire. And this one breaks the formula a little bit. We see Zelda, who is a witch, but she was kind of a bad girl in the past, decides one day she needs to just have a completely fresh start and moves to Northern California to be a yoga instructor, as one does. One day, minding her own business, she meets a tall stranger, dark hair, very hot. And I would describe the adventures that they have and what his secret is, but the title also tells you what to expect. So, yeah, those are my books. That's me.
Yeah, we love them.
Yes, we're obsessed.
I know. Ate them up so quick, and then I told all my friends, y'all have to read these.
Oh,
They're
I'm
so
so
good.
happy to hear it.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
halfway through Road Trip with a Vampire, and I'm meeting it up.
Right?
I listen on my walk every day, just like, oh my God, I'm loving it. And also, we just had a Dancing with the Stars book character edition episode.
Oh.
We used Cassie and Frederick
Oh, yeah.
from the first book, and they made it pretty far in our bracket, I think.
Oh, I'm so happy for them. They deserve
That was so fun.
They deserve it. They deserve
Oh, yes,
it.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. So, your books so obviously combine vampires with humor and modern settings, which I absolutely love because it's like, oh, it could be real,
Right.
So we just find that really cool and unique. What inspired you to blend these specific elements?
So I love comedy and I love humor. And, I won't always be writing about vampires, but that's one of the things I love most about writing, just making my stories. I love making people laugh with my writing. And during the pandemic, I got very into this TV show called What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Have you seen this, McCayleigh? It's
I have
so
not.
It's so good. Sorry. It is amazing.
Yeah, and it's like super low budget, but it's like it's
It's
funny
so
and
funny.
it's very silly and it's like the most unserious show. And it's about a found family of vampires who live together in Staten
Mhm.
Island, and sort of their mission is to like take over the world, but they're doing a real bad job of it. And they're in the modern world. They're trying to interface with things like the checkout line at convenience stores,
Mhm.
and it's just ridiculous. And during the pandemic, I found it, and like when I'm stressed or going through it, my brain kind of latches on to things that are bizarre or very silly. And I was like, I would love to write a romance novel with these vibes. Basically. And I had also just finished reading Beth O'Leary's The Flat Share, which, and I don't know if you've read that. It's a few years
Mm-mm.
old by now, but it's the premise is there's these two roommates and they share the same apartment. He works nights, she works days. And so they're like, we'll never see each other. It'll be perfect. Because they share a bed, right? It's a one bed apartment.
Oh.
Right. But they'll never be there at the same time. And I won't spoil it for you, but it is a romance novel. And so I was like, vibes and nonsense of What We Do in the Shadows plus a romance novel and their roommates. And,
Yeah.
we were all kind of going through it then. I certainly was. And I think that a lot of other people must have been
Yeah.
because got an agent, got an editor like real fast. I did have I was a fanfic writer for a number of years. And I think, my imprint, one of the editors was familiar with the
Oh,
stuff I
that's so
wrote.
cool.
I think, now a lot of indie authors are getting scooped up, which
Mhm.
is great.
Oh, yeah.
And before that, there were more fanfic writers that weren't. I was sort of part of that um a bunch like several years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I think I just like it all sort of came together like shockingly fast.
Yeah.
And my goofy story idea found people that wanted to publish it and then found people that wanted to read it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What type of fan fiction did you write? I'm gonna go
I
off
wrote
track here for
I
a minute,
actually
but
wrote fan fiction for a very long time. Most recently I wrote Raylo, but before that
is it still up? I will read it today.
it is. Not all of it. So the only story very like none of what I wrote has become fan fiction or has become published fic, so it's
Mhm.
almost all of it is up. My roommate is a vampire, lived very briefly as a like 10 tweet shitpost.
Really?
And I don't think that is up anymore, but it was basically like the premise and
Yeah.
like,
Uh-huh.
you can't write a novel on Twitter.
Yeah.
This again was a number of, but yeah, it's mostly still up. But I wrote for like 15 years. And so I
Yeah.
also wrote Game of Thrones. I wrote Doctor Who fan fiction.
Wow, you have something
I know.
fun.
Yeah, wrote Rogue One fan. I mean,
Wow.
yeah,
Mhm.
so a lot of different stuff.
That's
But
so
Raylo
cool.
most recently, it's been a while at this point, and that is what the editors at my publisher had read.
That's so cool.
Wow.
I love fan fiction. I'm like dipping my toes into it again now because I took kind of a hiatus going in college and high school and things like that. And so now I'm like getting back into it. I love it so much. Everyone's so
It's
creative.
wonderful. It's like people just having it's like for the pure joy of
Yeah.
creating. And it's where a lot of even authors who don't admit that they got their start writing fan fiction, like so many people sort of develop their creative way, doing it. I
Mhm.
think it's amazing. I love
Yeah.
it.
So good. Well, I guess getting back on track. I'm sorry I took us off track there for a
No,
minute.
it's fine.
But when you write, and we talked about before, you've got the fantasy elements of vampires, and then you've also got more of like lighthearted comedic moments. How do you sort of balance both of those while you're writing?
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
I think I sort of lead with the comedic moments and kind of fit the fantasy around that. Because
Yeah.
I think most people who read my books discover pretty quickly that these are kind of paranormal light romances.
Yeah.
Like they're set in the modern world. it would be hard to completely do this, but I think if you substituted most of my vampires for just like really weird guys,
Yeah.
It would work still.
I mean, there'd obviously be some changes, but I think that like particularly for my first two books, less so for my third, I lean into the paranormal and the fantasy when it kind of bolsters the campiness and the lighthearted. Like there's a lot of fish out of water comedy, particularly in my first book. And I lean into the paranormal and fantasy when it kind of supports that. And then like, I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah, no, it does. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think whenever I read your writing, obviously, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so funny," but then it's like, also there's vampires.
Yeah.
So it's like funny vampires,
Yeah.
which I love the
And I do
2.
think that people who are looking, and I'll be like the first to admit this, like if people are looking for like real heavy, deep in the lore of vampire novels, like these, they will be disappointed in my stories because like they are vampires and there is lore, but it's very much, I think, rom-coms, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
If I tried to write exactly what you've written, like My Roommate is a Vampire, I feel like it would turn into an Edgar Allan Poe story so fast. And I'd forget about humor and just like only rely on one genre. I just
No, I
don't know how
love
you do
humor.
it, but it takes so much skill to balance
Oh, yeah.
all these genres into one book. And I don't think you get enough credit for that because people don't know unless you're an author. And I'm like, that takes skill to evenly balance it all across the board.
Yes, thank you for saying that. And I
Yeah.
do think that people that write lighthearted, and I'm not just talking about myself here, like people that write lighthearted, fun, funny stuff, I think people assume it's easy because
Uh-huh.
it goes down real easy,
Yeah.
like when you're reading it. But people that really do a good job of writing light, I don't want to say low stakes necessarily, but like upbeat kind of, people just assume, well, it was fun to read, so you must have just tossed this off. But
God,
Ugh.
that'd be so nice.
it's hard.
Uh-huh. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And something
But people who go hardcore into like the dark, like that also takes a lot of effort.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just hard to be a writer.
wow.
It is.
And another thing that you do so well is you make these characters so relatable.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
hard to do also because a lot
Mhm.
of the time it's like hard to be like, oh, it's just a guy on a page. But no, now he's like a real person living in my head.
Yeah.
So, and on top of that, they're vampires. So it's like, wow, you really make him real. And so I
Thank
believe there's a
you.
vampire living in New York, or wherever. But how do you approach building these characters and in a way that the readers can connect to them? Is there like a specific formula when you write a character that you're like, let's build him this way and make sure he has this personality type? Like, what's your system? I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
how you do
So
it.
my system involves a lot of crying. I'm sort of
No.
kidding. No, I don't really cry, but I do panic.
Okay.
So I think I decide pretty early. I definitely don't have a real system to
Okay.
anything. I decide pretty early on the broad strokes of what the character is going to be like. That is the thing that I end up fine tuning the most as I go through edits. But pretty early on, like in My Roommate is a Vampire, I had the general vibes of the two main characters set. In one of his earliest versions, Frederick was going to be like really grumpy and kind of like a dominant personality. That didn't
Mhm.
work. But yeah, no, I decide pretty early on, and it's usually just like what I'm sort of in the mood to explore. I really like, and because they're romances, I try to think of the two characters as sort of being foils for one another. And so I definitely am like, So my first book, we have sort of, free spirit of the modern world, human, and much more rigid of no spoilers, but not of the modern world, Frederick. And I really wanted to see how they would play off each other. The second one, it was like Amelia I relate to more than a lot of my characters, not in the I got to get my parents off the back sense, but like my first career, I trained for many years to do something that is wildly different from writing vampire rom-coms. That's not too different from what Amelia does. And I was like, I would love to write someone like her who like meets this absolute disaster person
Right?
and how that would work together. And then my third book, I was like, I've never written Grumpy Sunshine.
Yeah.
And I really would like to try that. And so it's more like I really that's kind of how I go about doing it. But
Yeah.
there's no formula at all and there's no system.
Wow.
I love that for you. Do you have any sort of favorite vampire movies or even shows or
Yes.
books
So
that
I
kind of
was very
inspired you?
inspired also by Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
That also is a kind of campy, humorous look at vampires
Yeah.
as well. That made a huge impact on me. Like, I loved it. I watched it a couple of years after it was done airing. That long. It finished, and then like a year or two went by, and then I was like, I really think I want to watch this show.
Yeah.
Huge influence on me. So there's that. Interview with the Vampire, not its current version,
Yes.
though I do watch the current version, but
Mhm.
the earlier, like the books and the
Mhm.
first movie, that I borrowed some of the lore, but the vibes of that are very kind of fraught
Yeah.
and emo. And so definitely was aware of it, but I didn't borrow the lore, yes, but not so much the vibes.
I really enjoy that movie and show. We're watching the show now. I think I just finished season 1,
Mhm.
but it's been out for so long I didn't even know that they had a TV show because I watched the movie whenever I was younger, like in middle school or high school. I
Yeah.
watched the movie back then, and I was like, "Wait, they made a new show with
Yeah.
completely new actors." So I'm watching it now, and I still need to read that book. I really, really I'm enjoying the TV show. I love the movie, but I need to read the book. I've heard really
Yeah.
good
So
things.
I think because it wasn't on like a major channel or a major network, I think that the show flew under the radar a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not caught up. But yeah, no, it had been going on for some time before I even knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Read the book, but I also think that the show is very good. So
Yeah, it's
read
good.
the book when you get to it.
Wow. Yes.
And I
Oh my
think those
gosh.
are pretty much True Blood was a show that I watched a little bit of, but not as much as I know a lot of people really loved it. I did watch it, but not that religiously. But I read some of the books that it was based on, the Sookie Stackhouse novel. So, but yeah,
Wow.
Buffy and I think What We Do in the Shadows were the most
Good.
influential.
Oh, love.
That is so fun. I was a child, like, obsessed with, like, vampires and Twilight era. Oh my
Oh
gosh. Like,
yes.
I
How
was
could I forget? I should have said
It's
Twilight.
Hoa Hoa
So.
Hoa season.
Yeah. So I am almost certainly of a different generation than y'all. And so I did like the fact that Twilight didn't immediately come to
Yeah.
mind, I think should tell you a little bit about my background. Age wise. And yes, obviously Twilight, but I mostly in my books poke gentle and affectionate fun at Twilight. One of the main vampire characters has this Edward Cullen poster and he loves it unironically. And his vampire friends are like, dude, why do you have this poster? And he's like, I
Right.
love it. It's just the best.
Yeah.
So Twilight, I'll admit I was an adult when it all came out.
Yeah.
I mean, to be clear, I read every book. I saw every movie in the theater. But that wasn't as much of an influence on me as
Yeah.
if it would probably have been more of one if I were 30.
Haley and I are both wannabe traditionally published authors. So we have to know your publishing journey and
Yeah.
what really got you from that very first draft idea all the way to signing with Berkeley.
So honestly think that the fact that one of the major editors at Berkeley kind of knew who I was
Yeah.
because she was a closet fanfic fanatic. Like
Yeah.
she has a dummy
Wild.
AO3 account.
Mhm.
I really think, and like that's not an inspirational story
No.
whatsoever. Like I could make something up and say, "Oh, I queried for 2 years," but I did have something that I put together. But because this was somebody who I guess knew a little bit who I was, that is kind of what fast tracked it.
Yeah.
And so I do think that and that was a bit unusual at the time. This was before actually love seeing all these indie authors get their recognition and
Mhm.
sign with publishers after seeing such success doing it on their own. But like when I did this, it was much more unusual. Like I didn't know many other people who didn't have to go through the long
Yeah.
and I do think that now if editors don't sort of have a way to see what you've already been working on
Mhm.
and what
Yeah.
reader reaction already is to what you're doing, it's getting like I mean my book has only been out 2 years, but like it has changed so much
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think the best thing that writers can do, keep writing for
Yeah.
sure. Because, I started writing fanfic and it was awful. But I think like the more it's like any other muscle, right? Like the
Yeah.
more you
Yeah.
work at it, the
Yeah.
more you do it. And I think this is so uninspiring, but like keep going. Um,
No,
Right.
that's really good.
are you querying? Are you working on manuscripts or?
McCayleigh, you can go first. McCayleigh's done a lot more than I have.
So I've self-published 2 books, but
Oh,
the one I'm working on right now, it's a proposal because I'm hoping to do it in collaboration and get licensing rights to do it with this company that already exists and use their character names from movies they've made and just
oh,
kind of like put a
amazing.
spin on it. Very similar to like Wings of Starlight, which is a
Yeah,
Tinkerbell add-on book.
yeah,
Like it was a novel. So I really want to do something like that. So I'm in the finishing up my like little proposal package before I send
amazing.
that out. But Haley is doing a lot more with words than I
Oh my
am
gosh.
currently.
I've started 4. I've started 4 books and I'm pretty deep into all four of them now. I'm about 20 to 50,000 words deep into all 4 of them and I don't
Wow.
know what goes
At
on
the
with my
same time.
something
I truly
something
can't
I
even
don't know what
imagine.
happens to me, but I get so caught up in my brain and I think this is terrible. Nobody's going to like this and then I just
Okay,
put
so
it
that's
off.
normal.
Like
That part
I keep
is
fighting
normal.
myself in my head. I'm just like no one will read this. It's trash and then I don't look at it for like months. And then I come back to it, I'm like, "Wait, I kind of like this." And
Yeah.
then same thing goes on. I'm like, "This is terrible. Let me stop looking at this." I don't know.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
I know, and that doesn't go away.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned.
I'm on deadline right now for my 4th book.
Mhm.
The manuscript is due to my editor a week from tomorrow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. To be
No.
clear, there's multiple rounds of editing after
Yeah.
that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I would be dead. And I'm just like, you know what would save us all a lot of time and effort is if I just deleted this. I could just delete this
Yeah.
and we could just move on with our lives. And I'm
Yeah.
like
Well.
this with every single book.
Yeah.
Every single book. And I have this one really good friend who's like, you always get like this. Like,
Uh,
ignore that voice. But I think that is when you're deep in the weeds. I think
Yeah.
everybody always hates.
Yeah. The
I
anxiety
certainly
of it all. Yeah.
so. Yeah.
wow. Back to like fan fiction a little bit. I really see it as like a portfolio you're building. Exactly like you said, now the agents look at your work and they're like, oh yeah, a closet fanfic nerd. But now you have all these like things to back it up too. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I can write and I can do it consistently too. A lot of the
Right.
time, if you're like really into it, you're consistently doing it. And I don't know if you've heard of Sinlin Yu. They just released
Of course.
Alchemized.
Of
Mhm.
course.
So I feel like currently, and you talking about how indie authors, a lot of them are now following this route. So I think that's really
Yeah, it's
awesome.
just wildly I got my first contract end of 2021, and the landscape, like, it's shocking to me how different it is, and that's really not that much time.
Yeah.
It's just an entirely different, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after you got signed with Berkeley, was there ever a moment where it really clicked with you? Like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to be a traditionally published author. And how did that feel?
It was
Too many.
wild. I think it's still sinking in,
After all this
honestly.
time.
It's still sinking in. I mean, I see my book at Barnes& Noble. I mean, it's sunk in by now, but, like, it
Mhm.
took longer than you would think, and I think also, um, it all happened so fast for me.
Yeah.
Like, I went from somebody who had written fan fiction for, like, 15 years as a hobby, something I did to unwind from my very Amelia kind of
Yeah.
job. Writing a novel, becoming a published author was a bucket list thing, right? Like, oh, once my daughter is out of high school, or, once I'm more established professionally. But not right. And then, like, suddenly it was happening. And I went from sort of thinking more seriously about publishing a novel to having one ready for pre-order. It really turned my life upside down in good
Yeah.
ways, but also like, oh my God, what am I doing ways? And I don't know. It took a minute to sink in.
Me and Haley, we went to Barnes and Noble and we found every one of your books and we posed with a picture for each one. When you said you were like, "Oh, it's in Barnes and Noble," that just clicked. That like
Yeah,
I was like, "Me and
yeah,
Haley,
no.
we scoped them out."
Well,
Found all of them.
my mother, every time I have a book release, she does reconnaissance and she checks out the Barnes and Noble, and she gives me updates on, like, it doesn't have the cover facing out,
Oh,
Oh,
but at this one it does, and this one only has this many copies, and I'm like,
she's
I mean,
just
I
a
think she,
proud
like,
mom.
aw,
she's
yeah.
and
Aw.
it's wild because, like, I really, this I never really told anybody that I was writing creatively, and the fact that my family is so supportive, like, I really didn't. I expected them to not be.
Oh, no.
Wow.
And
And they
it's
surprised
been
you
great.
for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me too.
And not, to only make things better, my roommate with a vampire started hitting best-selling lists. So it's like,
Mhm.
not only are you just a traditionally published author now, you're like, you hit the next tier.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. How
Oh my
insane is
gosh.
that?
Yeah. Can you take us back to that moment when you found out that you were a USA Today best-selling author?
I think I was just in a total state of shock.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
I had some idea that it would do well in the months leading up to it.
You had a great social media presence, I will say that, and that's how I found you, was through your social media. And so
So I'm
immediately
really
when I
happy to
found
hear that.
you,
I don't feel like I have
yes,
any idea what I'm doing on
I
social
love
media.
your Instagram. I
I
stalk
don't
your
think anyone
Instagram
knows.
all the time.
Well, because I don't know how to make beautiful things, so I make silly captions.
No, I love
And
it.
I hope people, yeah, I'm like, I don't know,
It's so good.
but that makes me very happy to hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had some idea that it would do pretty well,
Mhm.
but I have TikTok and all my social media feeds set up so that, like, I don't see my name. Like,
Mhm.
if people are, unless, like, I'm being tagged in things on
Yeah.
Instagram, like those, but
Right.
I'm one of those authors who, like, if I see my name, like, if I see reviews, I love that people talk about books and about my books, but if they want to talk about what's wrong with my books, I don't need to be
Yeah.
part of that.
Yeah.
Because it's a reader space and so on. People were sending me TikToks that, like, had a tremendous amount of views and
Mhm.
likes. So I had an idea that it would do well, but never crossed my mind it would hit bestseller lists.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
my first book was on USA Today for 3 weeks in a row, which I was like, how is this even possible?
It's well deserved. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's so good.
But yeah, no, my reaction was like, oh my God. And I was just in a state of shock.
Yeah.
That's basically, yeah,
And so
very
you
excited.
you talked about it a little bit earlier, but after all this success that you've had, how has your life sort of changed, whether in your writing, your personal life?
Yeah. So yeah, the Amelia type job that I'd been happily doing, technically still have it, but have scaled way back
Yeah.
in terms of hours and
Mhm.
my presence in that job. That's sort of the biggest change. But
Yeah.
also, now that I have traditionally published books out, I guess everybody in my life knows that writing's been a part of my life for a very long time.
Yeah.
I never told people I wrote fan fiction. My husband knew because it just didn't seem like the sort of thing that, my
You would tell your
78-year-old
mom.
dad would
Yeah.
Yeah.
get. He's not quite that old, but and so it's just, I'm a lot more open about it,
Yeah.
and I'm a much more confident writer as well.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely still have that. Like this morning, I was briefly looking at my book and I'm like, we could just delete this and, everything would be okay. But I'm a much more confident writer and I feel like I have a much clearer idea of how to tell the stories that are banging
Yeah.
around inside my head.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's good.
So your follow-up, My Vampire Plus One, we
Mhm.
really see Reginald in the spotlight here, and I just also want to know, what was it like shifting the spotlight from this main character, Frederick, to Reginald? Because their personalities are almost opposite.
They are. They
They're
really, really
like
are. And that's part of why I made Amelia so different from Cassie, because
smart.
the first, like, Cassie and Frederick have a very specific dynamic, and Amelia and Reggie also have a very different dynamic. It was really hard. And I learned that you need to have more when you write a book beyond the idea, well, wouldn't it be funny if? I learned that kind of the hard way when writing that book. He was definitely just sort of like a comedic relief sidekick in book one.
Mm-hmm.
And making him into a fully fledged character with flaws and like with depth to him was one of the harder things that I've done. So I found him harder to write than I found Frederick, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the process and was happy with how it turned out.
Yeah. So you've talked a little bit about your fourth book that you're still working on, still writing it. I've stalked your Instagram, so I know the title, and the title is Love You to Death, and it's coming out fall of 2026. What?
Yes. Unless I delete it
No,
today.
don't
I may
delete it, Jenna. We
I
would
need
cry.
it. Before you delete it, send it to me. Email it
I
to
will. I'll
me.
do that. Yeah.
What can we expect from this one? Is it
Yeah.
going to have vampires in it again?
No
Or
vampires. No,
Werewolves.
I know, no vampires, and yet the male love interest is not technically alive. I'm not straying that far from my roots.
He's a zombie.
So it's a Grim Reaper romance. Yeah. Yeah. And so Grim Reaper, he doesn't have a name at the beginning of the book, but she gives him a name because she has to call him something. He very jaded with his job, it's kind of same thing day after day for millennia. He has his last soul collection of the week, and her name is Lucy, and she's hit by a bus. And when they meet, their lives are forever changed. So
I can't wait for this.
I
Oh
am
my gosh.
very excited for that.
I am too.
Wow.
Actually, I mean, I think I think it's going to be good. I love writing it
Yeah.
when I'm not on deadline. And I will
Oh
say
my
that
gosh.
this book has comedy, but it's a much darker kind of comedy.
My favorite
'Cause-
kind.
yeah, it's much darker. So
I'm
Wow.
so excited. I can't wait to read it.
Same. And then finally, we love asking every guest, if you could have dinner with any author, living or dead, who would it be and why?
this is this
There's
is
so many
really,
great
really hard.
I
authors.
know.
I saw this question and it's tough because normally when people say famous person have dinner with, I say Dolly Parton.
Oh,
Oh,
does she have
Because
a
Yes.
memoir? I don't know.
what?
I said, does she have a memoir?
She
Maybe?
doesn't. No,
Ah.
but normally the question is any famous person dead or alive. And
right.
I can't really say Dolly because as far as I know she hasn't written a book. This is such a hard question to
It
answer.
is. And if you can't stay with one, maybe top 3 or
I know how to answer this. I'm just gonna have like a weirdo. So I love the Game of Thrones. So
Yeah.
Me
George
too.
R.R. Martin, just to ask him when,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
like when.
Yeah.
I probably would want to have dinner. I'm gonna pick like older people, like people that have influenced me for like a
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
very long
Yeah.
time. Because I do sometimes see, like, I see like a lot of people on Instagram, like I have met them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick people I'll never actually meet. I would probably pick Edgar Allan Poe
Yeah.
because what a dark little weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
And I would also probably pick Agatha Christie just because she was so
Ooh.
prolific, and
Yeah.
a lot of the
Wow.
mysteries she wrote really influenced me as a child. Like,
Yeah.
some of her books, I was like, "Wow," when I was 13.
Well, no, same because I read that it was like required reading, I think, was one of her first books. I can't remember which one. And then after that, I've got like a little collection somewhere back here of just like her, it's like pocketbook collection sizes somewhere here. I really love her books too. They're good.
Yeah. So those are people I will never meet, because 2 of them are dead.
Yeah.
But, I have questions for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
let's
yeah.
just go with that.
Excellent answer. There was no
Yeah.
wrong answer, but you
Yeah.
happened to give a really great one. I loved
Yeah.
it. And lastly, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners?
I still just can't believe I get to do this.
Yeah.
And I get to do it because people are reading my stories, and it's just the honor of my lifetime, to be able to publish books and for people
Yeah.
to find them and read them and enjoy them. So, if you are a reader and you've either just stumbled upon this podcast because the hosts are so amazing,
Oh,
or
so
you have
kind.
read any of my books, just thank you.
And go ahead and let our listeners know where they can find you.
So the best place to find me is on Instagram. I have a newsletter I very rarely send out, so I won't send you there. But my Instagram is Jenna Levine Writes at, I guess, yeah, Jenna Levine Writes is my handle on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Thank you so much for coming
Yes,
on and
thank
joining
you.
us. This was so excellent and so
Yes.
insightful. You are just amazing, and what you're
Yeah.
writing is so inspiring. And I
Yeah.
know that
Thank you.
imposter syndrome, it creeps up on you, but we are eagerly waiting, and we're gonna love it regardless. If you hated it, we're probably gonna love it all that much more
Oh, yeah.
to make up for it. So just keep going because we are eagerly awaiting, especially this Grim Reaper story. I'm just like, I need it. I need it yesterday. Fall 2026 can get here
Yes.
fast.
Jenna, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It was so fun to hear about the My Vampire series, your writing journey, and everything that went into bringing this series to life.
If you want to check out Jenna, we'll have all of her links in the show notes so you can follow her, support her, and of course, grab her books.
And don't forget, we'll be back next Thursday with another episode. Make sure you're following us so you don't miss it. Bye!